Hi friends, my name is Deni Johnson and I'm going to be talking to you today about faithfulness, one of the 9 fruits of the Spirit. And when you look up the definition of faithfulness, it says loyal and steadfast, which makes sense because when you think of a faithful friend, you think of somebody who is there right beside you through the good times and the bad, and they're just loyal to you at all times. And when you look at the fruits of the Spirit, when you read in Galatians 5, one thing that is important to notice is that before we even get to the fruits of the Spirit, Paul tells us about the acts of the flesh. He actually names 15 acts of the flesh that we are in our spirit are at war with. So he tells us there's a constant battle between our flesh and our spirit, and that these fruits of the Spirit will help us combat those acts of the flesh. So I'm actually kind of surprised that faithfulness is a little farther down on the list. I thought it would have been higher up because for me, faithfulness is what helps me to have greater other fruits of the Spirit, like the love and joy. As I'm more faithful in my walk with God, I definitely find that I have more patience and peace. And I can only do that through tapping in to God and asking Him for help to grow in those other fruits of the Spirit. One thing that I also thought was interesting is how they are fruits of the Spirit, which anybody who has tried to grow anything knows that you need to continually water and they need, sunshine. You can't just have a fruit and you're done. You have to keep working on it and growing it. And the same thing with faithfulness. And also when I think of faithfulness, I think of 2 ways. You have God's faithfulness to us and our faithfulness towards God. I would like to look up Hebrews 11:1 in the Bible and see what God tells us about faith. It says, "Now faith is the assurance of things hoped for and conviction of things not seen." So faithfulness is really at the core of our whole relationship with Christ. As soon as we become believers, we now have faith and we have that relationship with Jesus Christ. And it's our choice what we're going to do with that faith. Are we going to grow it and trust in Him more every day? Or are we going to be more complacent? And I know for myself, I've had seasons of my life where I've been very faithful and on track and, in my Bible. And then I've had other seasons where my faith is not as strong as it should have been. So one thing I want to look at too is I talked about the faithfulness of God to us. So another verse I would like to look at is 2 Timothy 2:13, and it tells us, "If we are faithless, He remains faithful, for He cannot disown Himself." And I don't know about you, but that brings me a lot of comfort knowing that our Savior, regardless of our wavering faith, He is faithful and will never change that, regardless of how we are acting. And for Him to say that He can't disown Himself, that means we are a part of Him. And I just love knowing that He is there regardless of my off and on commitment. I do have another verse to look up, Deuteronomy 32:4. It says, "The rock, His work is perfect, for all His ways are just, a God of faithfulness and without injustice, righteous and upright is He." For me, it's not hard to follow our Savior, who I know is just and righteous, and He has nothing wrong about Him. And to put your trust in Him is a safe place. One thing I want to do is tell you a story. Earlier this week, I had an appointment in Wiesbaden, and we just got our truck a week ago, and I'd only driven it one other time, and so trying to park our truck, it's not huge, but it's still a truck parking in Wiesbaden, and so I circled around, and then I was like, oh, I'll try this parking garage. I drive down and get to the little arm and notice that you have to have a badge to get into this parking structure. I apparently went into a private parking area, and now I have to back the truck back up the hill and around a little curb area. So I start backing up, and of course a car comes in. He notices I'm backing up and he pulls off to the side, and I'm totally stressing because I'm backing this big truck up and hitting the curb, and somebody's waiting, and I finally get back far enough that he can get past me. I know he gives me a look of dumb Americans. But then I just sit there, and first choice I wanted to do was just, kind of let out and cry because I am totally stressed at this point. And I still have to get by a sidewalk, the bike lane, 2 poles, and traffic. So I could either sit there and cry, I could put the truck in park and leave it. I definitely thought of that. Or my best choice was to give it up. And I totally was praying, like, okay, God, I need help to get out of this. And right as I put it in reverse to back up again, a couple came by and a man waved me on. He stopped traffic. He stopped the bikes and helped back me out the rest of the way. And I have no doubt that God's faithfulness sent that angel there to help me get out, and then I was able to find a parking spot. I know that may seem silly, but just to know that our God is so faithful to get us out of what may seem like a little situation, whether it's little or big. I have a girlfriend who is going through cancer treatment. She just had her first chemo this week, and watching her put her trust in God to get her through this horrible situation is super inspiring. So I guess my challenge to you is whether you need to have faith in a little situation or a big situation. Our God is just, and his faith in us is unwavering. And I don't know about you, but I want to be faithful. I don't want to be faith empty. So put your trust in him and build that relationship. Our Father loves us more than we can ever imagine. All right, guys, I can't wait to be able to see you in person, and I look forward to that being sooner than later. All right, bye.